Have you ever noticed how silence can suddenly feel louder than words? It happens in the most ordinary moments, like when you're standing at a restaurant table, the waiter smiles, the menu is open, and suddenly your mind goes blank. The words you knew just a second ago seem to vanish, as if English itself had quietly slipped away. It's strange, isn't it? You've studied, you know the vocabulary, you've practiced how to order. But in that exact second, when all eyes are on you, it's as if your voice forgets how to exist, and you're left with nothing but a nervous smile and a racing heartbeat. But maybe that silence isn't a failure. Maybe it's something deeply human, a reminder that language isn't just about words, but about connection, about wanting to be understood, about the courage to speak, even when your voice shakes. Every learner I've met from Tokyo to Sao Paulo has felt that moment of sudden emptiness, that flash of I know this, but I can't say it. And that's the moment where English truly begins, not in perfection, but in vulnerability. Because language isn't a test, it's a bridge, and sometimes before we cross it, we tremble. So today, let's sit at that restaurant table together. Let's forget a few words, laugh about it, and learn how to find our way back, not just to English, but to confidence itself. Because fluency doesn't mean never being nervous. It means speaking, even when you are.
I swear, Olivia, I know these words. I've practiced them 100 times. But the moment I imagine the waiter standing here, my brain just collapses.
Collapses? That's quite dramatic for a lunch menu.
I'm serious. It's like the moment I need to speak, everything disappears, like someone pressed delete in my head.
That's because your mind goes from language to performance. You're no longer learning English. You're performing it, and that's where nerves live.
That's exactly how it feels. Like I'm on stage, and the audience is waiting for me to say, "Can I get the soup?" perfectly.
Poor soup, Carrie-in. You're making fun of me. Just a little. But only because I've seen this 1,000 times. You think you're nervous because you might forget words. But what's really happening is you're afraid of being judged.
I guess it's not the words, it's the silence after I get them wrong.
Exactly. But here's something you might not realize. Everyone forgets words. Even native speakers.
Really?
Absolutely. We just fill the gaps naturally. If I forget the word napkin, I might say the paper for your mouth. It sounds silly, but it works. That's communication, imperfect but alive.
So it's okay to sound a little silly?
It's better than being silent. English isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about keeping the connection alive.
You always make it sound so poetic.
That's because it is. Every sentence you speak is a small act of courage, especially when your hands are shaking.
You make it sound like ordering food is an emotional journey.
It is. Think about it. You're asking for something you want from someone you don't know in a language that isn't yours. That's vulnerability and that's bravery.
Never looked at it like that.
Most people don't. They think fluency is about memory. It's not. It's about trust. Trusting yourself enough to speak even when you're unsure.
That's actually kind of beautiful.
Thank you. Now let's practice. Pretend I'm the waiter.
No way. You'll judge me.
I promise I won't. Think of it as rehearsal without pressure.
All right. Could I get the spaghetti?
Good. But you hesitated because you were listening to your fear. Try again, slower. Let the words breathe.
Could I get the spaghetti, please?
Perfect. Did you feel the difference?
My voice didn't shake this time.
That's rhythm, not grammar, doing the work. English has a heartbeat. Once you find it, everything flows.
That's so interesting. I never thought of it as rhythm.
Language is like music. You can know every note, but if you don't feel the melody, it won't move anyone.
So I just need to feel my sentences more?
Exactly. Don't control them, guide them.
You know, this reminds me of something. Once, in Paris, I tried ordering in French and ended up saying, "I am the soup."
Oh no, I would have applauded that courage.
The waiter didn't. But it's funny now. I guess those are the moments that make language stick.
Precisely. Mistakes are the fingerprints of learning. They remind you that you were alive in that moment.
You make it sound so human. I think that's why I like your classes. It's never just about English.
Because English itself isn't just English. It's emotion, culture, humor, fear, all mixed together. The sooner you accept that, the faster you'll feel fluent.
So maybe I'm not bad at English. I'm just bad at relaxing.
Exactly. The most fluent people are the calmest ones. They make space for words to come naturally.
I've been trying to control every sentence, like a machine.
And that's why your sentences run away from you. They need air, not rules.
I love that. Words need air.
They do. You can't speak well if you don't let yourself breathe.
It's funny, we're sitting here talking about fear, and now I feel completely calm.
That's because fear only lives in silence. Once you speak, it has nowhere to hide.
You should write that on a wall somewhere.
Maybe I will. But for now, I want you to remember something simple. Confidence isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about being brave enough to speak at all.
You know what? I think I can actually enjoy speaking English. I just needed to stop treating it like an exam.
Exactly. You're not being tested. You're being heard.
That's such a different way to see it. I like that.
Good. Because the next time you're nervous, I want you to remember this moment. The warmth, the laughter, the calm. Speak from there, not from fear.
So, if I forget a word again, I should just breathe and improvise?
Yes. Say something simple. Use your hands. Use your smile. Communication is human, not mechanical.
You make English sound like a love language.
In many ways, it is. Every word you speak is a small invitation to connect.
That's really beautiful, Olivia.
It's true. And remember, the words you forget say nothing about your English. They only remind you that you're human.
You know, I don't think I'm afraid anymore.
Good. That means English is finally becoming yours.
And it all started with a plate of imaginary spaghetti.
Every great conversation starts with something small.
I guess this is what fluency feels like. Not perfect, just peaceful.
Exactly. Language isn't a race. It's a rhythm. And today you found yours. You know, Marcus, people often think that forgetting words means they're bad at English. But in reality, it means something much more human. It means they care. When you're nervous, your brain isn't empty. It's full of awareness, fear, and self-doubt. You start performing instead of communicating. You think, how do I sound? Instead of, what do I want to say? And that small shift changes everything. I've seen brilliant students freeze mid-sentence, not because they didn't know the word, but because they wanted to be perfect. And perfection is a cruel goal in any language. It demands silence when what you need most is sound. Language isn't a list of rules. It's alive, unpredictable, emotional, fragile. It moves through you like a heartbeat. The more you try to control it, the more it slips away. That's why the key to fluency isn't speaking faster or knowing every word. It's learning how to stay present, to let words come, even when they arrive imperfectly. Every conversation is a small act of courage. You open your mouth, not knowing how the words will sound, and you trust that meaning will find its way through. That's not grammar, that's bravery. When I teach, I don't really teach English. I teach comfort. I teach silence that doesn't hurt. I teach how to breathe before speaking, how to smile when you forget, how to let words fall naturally, like raindrops. And once a student learns that, they stop trying to sound fluent. They simply become fluent. Because true language doesn't live in vocabulary books or perfect pronunciation. It lives right here between people.
It's strange. My English didn't suddenly improve today. But somehow I feel different.
That's because your English didn't need to change. You did.
Maybe confidence isn't something you learn, it's something you remember.
Exactly. You were never missing the words, Marcus. You were just missing the courage to trust them.
You make it sound so simple. But when I'm out there, in real life, it feels like everyone's listening, waiting for me to fail.
People aren't listening for your mistakes. They're listening for your message. And if you speak with heart, they'll forgive anything else.
Speak with heart. I like that.
It's the only language that truly connects. Think about it. When someone speaks your language imperfectly but with warmth, do you correct them?
No, actually, I feel something. Like respect.
Exactly. Language is empathy made audible. It's not about impressing, it's about reaching.
When I first started learning English, I wanted to sound like a native speaker. Every video, every exercise, it was all about accent, pronunciation, vocabulary lists. But now, I don't want to sound like anyone. I just want to sound like me.
That's when real fluency begins. When you stop chasing someone else's voice and start trusting your own.
I think that's what I was missing all along, permission to be myself.
You never needed permission. You just needed to realize that your English, your voice, already had value.
You make this sound like therapy.
Maybe it is. The therapy of being understood.
That's powerful. Because when you think about it, learning a language is really learning how to be seen again.
Beautifully said.
Thanks. I learned from a poet disguised as a teacher.
And I learned from a student who thought spaghetti was a life lesson.
I used to see English as this mountain I had to climb. But maybe it's more like a river. You don't conquer it, you flow with it.
That's a perfect metaphor. The more you fight the current, the harder it feels. But once you trust it, the river carries you.
And mistakes?
They're just the stones beneath your feet. Without them, you'd never feel the flow.
You should write a book, Olivia. The poetry of speaking English.
Maybe one day. But for now, I'll settle for watching you rediscover your voice.
If you told me this morning that I'd be sitting in a restaurant enjoying speaking English, I'd have laughed.
That's the beauty of progress. It sneaks up on you. One small human moment at a time.
So, what should I do next time I panic?
First, breathe. Then smile. And remember, fluency doesn't mean never freezing. It means knowing how to unfreeze yourself.
So, if I forget a word, I just breathe and keep going.
Exactly. Don't chase the perfect word. Chase the connection.
You know what? I'm actually looking forward to my next awkward conversation.
That's when I'll know you've truly learned.
I guess the trick isn't to speak without fear, it's to speak with it and still mean what you say.
That's fluency, not the absence of fear, but the presence of meaning.
I think I get it now.
Tell me.
Speaking English isn't about mastering words, it's about letting them find you.
Perfectly said.
This might sound silly, but I feel like I could walk into any restaurant now and order a full meal, even dessert.
That's the spirit. Confidence on the menu.
Could I get a slice of courage, please? With a side of calm.
Of course, sir. And for dessert.
Peace of mind.
That's my favorite dish.
Olivia, thank you. Really. For teaching me how to speak. But more than that, for teaching me how to listen to myself.
That's where every conversation begins, with yourself. Once you listen, the words always follow.
I think that's the real lesson today.
Then you're ready for the next one.
What's it called?
How to talk when the words don't come.
I'll be there. Same table?
Always.
You know, Marcus, every time we speak, I'm reminded of something simple but powerful. Language isn't a skill. It's a connection. We chase words, grammar, and accents, thinking they'll make us sound fluent. But fluency isn't what happens when you memorize English. It's what happens when you share it. When your words meet someone else's silence and turn it into understanding. Every conversation is a bridge built between two hearts. And sometimes, it shakes. Sometimes, it breaks. But each time you rebuild it, you become stronger, braver, more human. You didn't just learn how to order food today. You learned how to stay calm when your voice trembles. How to laugh at your mistakes. How to be present. And that's where English truly lives, not in dictionaries or classrooms, but here, between people. So if you're watching this, remember, your words don't have to be perfect. They just have to be yours. Speak. Connect. And never stop learning the language that lives inside every one of us. Because language lives between people.